Hi all. In this video, we see fundamental concepts behind ChatGPT. So we all know that ChatGPT has three terminology: Chat and GP stands for generative pre-training, and T stands for transformer neural network architecture. So this specialized transformer neural network architecture is trained through a machine learning procedure called generative pre-training for language modeling applications. So that's the term ChatGPT. This video is particularly related to concepts behind why transformer neural network architecture for natural language processing. So this transformer neural network architecture was introduced in a paper around 2017 in a paper called Attention is All You Need. And they says that this transformer neural network architecture based on self-attention mechanism is believed to be particularly well suited for language understanding. So this is a paper called Attention is All You Need, which introduced transformer neural network architectures, which was utilized for ChatGPT. So to understand this transformer neural network architecture, we needed to understand the mechanism called what is attention mechanism. So this attention mechanism to be understood by a paper called Effective Approaches to Attention-Based Neural Machine Translations. So by this title, they says that attention mechanism, the concept is particularly helpful for building architecture for natural language processing called neural machine translations. This paper by introduced by Min Hu and Christopher Manning. So to understand this attention mechanism, it takes to the another layer called what is neural machine translations. So neural machine translation is also a particular architecture introduced in this paper called learning phrase representations using RNN encoder decoder for statistical machine translations. So this neural machine translation architecture or special deep learning way of architecture for natural language processing involves an encoder decoder kind of mechanism using RNN. RNN stands for recurrent neural networks. So again, to understand the transformer neural network architectures, we need to understand attention mechanism. This attention mechanism takes us to a specialized architecture called neural machine translations. This neural machine translation was based on an encoder decoder setup based on recurrent neural networks. So this recurrent neural network is also, as we many of us would have known, that specialized deep learning architectures, which is particularly applied for sequence modeling. So this we will see when we started this video, we started with one paper, then we introduced that concept, then that concept introduced to another paper, then that concept introduced to the further papers. So all these papers will be completely analyzed in forthcoming videos. So just in this paper, they says about how to utilize the recurrent neural networks for sequence modeling. So now the recurrent neural network is specially architecture applied for a sequence modeling task. So coming to the natural language processing, that natural language processing tasks are specialized modeled as a sequence to sequence modeling task where neural network architecture like LSTM, recurrent neural network were utilized. So now the language modeling task is modeled as or formulated as a sequence to sequence modeling. Sequence to sequence modeling, it means that as a sequence is given as an input to a neural network architecture, and output will be the another sequence. So how this sequence is processed, input sequence is processed in order to produce the output, through this specialized neural network architecture like recurrent neural networks. So this recurrent neural networks was specially designed for to model sequence modeling, and that language processing is formulated as a sequence to sequence models. And it not only recurrent neural networks were utilized for sequence to sequence modeling language tasks, but certain in this paper convolutional neural networks also were utilized for sequence to sequence modeling tasks. So we have natural language processing as a sequence to sequence modeling task utilizing neural network architecture like recurrent neural network and convolutional neural networks. So what is the necessity for us to introduce a new architecture called transformer neural network architecture? That the necessity for to introduce a new transformer neural architecture is fundamental begin is an attention mechanism. The attention mechanism is introduced especially for sequence to sequence modeling, especially applied to language model, because there are certain limitations when we are utilizing a conventional neural network or recurrent neural network to model the sequence modeling, especially the problem involved in natural language processing. Because the natural language processing, like for example, a machine translation from English to German, a sequence of words are given as an input from an English language, and a sequence of word has to be produced as an output in a German language. This sequence to sequence uh, dependency is not something like what we see in a time series modeling or solving differential equations like Markov models, which depends only on the previous time step or previous words or previous data. The dependency of something like an nth word might be depend upon something like long back, and the way the interactions between that sequences are not mainly of Markov models. So how where to focus on a particular way, and all these things couldn't able to be captured from the convolutional neural networks or recurrent neural networks. Even if they could able to modulate it some way to do this accomplishing task, it's phenomenally computationally expensive, and the accuracy is not that good as well using the attention mechanisms. So in forthcoming videos we will see the transformer neural network architecture and how this attention mechanism is utilized. So this attention mechanism will also be seen through the paper called this effective approaches to attention based neural machine translations. This neural machine translation will also the neural machine translation will also be introduced through this paper called RNN encoder decoder for static machine translations. And also we will see some basic ideas about recurrent neural network, how does this utilize for generating sequence through the paper from Alex Graves. And also we will see the papers on sequence to sequence learning with neural networks, and also sequence to sequence learning with the convolutional neural networks. And also there are some specialized paper to address these challenges by a certain uh, like this type of conditional computations involving recurrent neural networks and convolutional neural networks. So we will see all these bunch of papers, how these papers are correlated with each other, and how those concepts introduced in every paper correlated to each other to build this transformer neural network architecture, and how that transformer neural network architecture is being trained using a specialized algorithm called generative pre-training. That generative pre-training, that concept behind generative pre-training, and what are the fundamental concept behind that generative pre-training will also be introduced in forthcoming videos, and putting together how this generative pre-training is used is being applied into to model or to train this transformer neural architecture for our natural language applications, and how the chat gpt was built, version 1, version 2, version 3, and version 4, and what are the challenges and limitations are there even in the present chat gpt 4 will be seen in forthcoming videos. Hopefully we will see in the next video with what are the concepts behind the transformer neural networks, and what are the papers involved in introducing those concepts one by one. Thank you.